Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to 10 movie conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. So I was looking for something to react today, and I thought this could be interesting. I'm not sure what movie conspiracies could be in here, so it will be interesting to watch this and find out, and how they came true. So this could be a really interesting video, is what my thinking was, and the reason I decided to react to it today. So let's not waste any time, let's find out. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Let's get into the reaction.
Stormbreaker. Merchandise has delivered many a movie spoiler, and that was the case with Avengers Infinity War. It was rumored that Thor would eventually wield Stormbreaker, a dwarven axe capable of summoning the Bifrost Bridge.
Did it have a name? Stormbreaker.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
A Funko Pop of Thor was leaked shortly before the movie's theatrical release, and wouldn't you know it, he was wielding Stormbreaker. Another LEGO playset spoiled the Nidavellir subplot, complete with auxiliary pod of the Benatar and Groot holding the handle of Stormbreaker. Needless to say, some viewers were not surprised when Thor finally got his hand on the legendary weapon.
I told you. You'd die for that.
Destroyed props. With its thought-provoking story,
Just before we get into the next one, let me just rewind that a little bit so we can do that. Before we get into the next one, I just want to say I hate spoilers. I do. So the fact that happened, I mean, it wasn't a spoiler for me because I wasn't aware of that, so I got to enjoy it for what it was. But I hate when people do that. No matter how they deliver spoilers, it's just not necessary. Just allow people to enjoy the movie when it comes out. I mean, I'm a big believer in those spoilers. I won't even watch a movie trailer. If I can avoid the trailer, I will, because I just want to see the film for what it is. I don't want to know anything going in, so I will just watch the trailer. I'll avoid the trailer, sorry, and I'll watch the trailer after I've watched the actual film. So I will avoid them if I can. It takes a lot of work. It does, because the trailers are everywhere, especially on big films that you want to see. And people just want to talk to you about them beforehand. It's like, just let me watch the film. Just let me watch it, and we can talk about it all you want after I've seen it. But just let me watch it, And I'm sure many of you are the same. So yeah, that's unfortunate, that one, that the Funko Pop came out, which sort of gave it away, gave the spoiler away. Yeah, the fact that people were expecting it because of that is unfortunate. So I feel bad for anyone who did go through that, like they saw the Funko Pop and then they were expecting it when the movie came out. I feel bad for those people because they had that, even though it's not the biggest thing in that movie, they had it spoiled for them. So that's unfortunate. Let's see what else is on this list.
I told you. You'd die for that.
Destroyed props. With its thought-provoking story, pioneering visual effects, and incredible art direction, 2001: A Space Odyssey is director Stanley Kubrick's magnum opus.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Most of the props and miniatures have never been seen again. That's because Kubrick had them destroyed. It sounds like a conspiracy theory about an auteur director doing something eccentric, but in this case, the story's real.
What are you talking about, Hal?
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
Yep, Kubrick had everything destroyed after filming was completed so that other filmmakers and studios couldn't steal his creations. However, a few items survived, including the Ares 1B Translunar Space Shuttle, which sold in 2015 for $344,000.
Dave, this conversation can serve no purpose anymore. Goodbye.
An illegitimate child. On May 9th, 2011.
Before we get into the illegitimate child, that's a shame that all those movie props were destroyed. Obviously they're worth a lot of money now, because of that one that survived. Got sold for such a high amount. But yeah, why would you do that? I don't understand. I get that he was trying to stop people stealing his creations, but that's stuff from your movie. Even if you don't want anyone else getting their hands on it, keep it for yourself. It's a shame. It is. It's a shame. I don't feel like any prop should be destroyed from movies just because they hold importance to certain people. People who are big fans of a certain movie or a franchise would love to get their hands on certain props if they can. But if they can't, at least let them still exist so that people can still appreciate them. Because film is very powerful to a lot of people, and it means a lot to a lot of people. So being able to still have it in existence and be able to appreciate it could be a big thing for someone. So I don't feel like destroying it was necessary, but what's done is done. You know, it can't be changed. But that's a shame. It is a shame.
2011, Arnold Schwarzenegger and his wife of 25 years, Maria Shriver, separated. Immediately, people began speculating.
A week ago, their 25-year marriage, including 7 years as the first couple of California, came to an end with a whimper.
There was rumor that Schwarzenegger had fathered an illegitimate child with his longtime housekeeper, Mildred Baina. Turns out, this rumor was accurate. Just 1 week after the announcement, the Los Angeles Times revealed that Schwarzenegger's secret son was born in the mid-90s.
More than a decade ago, he secretly fathered a child with a household employee.
Shriver suspected this and confronted Baina, who confirmed the story. She then approached Schwarzenegger, leading to their separation.
It's just one of the disaster situations that I've created, and it's the worst thing that I've ever done.
Spider-Man. Fans were over the moon when the MCU
I'm not sure. Does that count as a movie conspiracy theory? I don't know. Maybe it does. I've not really got much to comment on that one. It's just one of the things that happens, you know. Obviously, it could be helped, but it's one of those things. I've not really got much to sort of deep dive into on that one, unfortunately. So let's get into Spider-Man.
started introducing the idea of the multiverse.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Peter Parker.
That's not possible.
I am Spider-Man. In my world.
The excitement reached a fever pitch when in December 2020, Collider reported that Andrew Garfield and potentially Tobey Maguire would appear in the upcoming No Way Home. However, Spider-Man Tom Holland was adamant that they were not in the film, and Garfield repeatedly denied his involvement. Of course, few believed them.
I just have this sense that he needs my help.
Our help.
And sure enough, they had substantial cameos in the movie, adding buckets of nostalgia to the adventure.
Like, does it just come out of your wrists, or does it come out of anywhere else?
Only the wrists.
Brangelina. In the mid-2000s, Brad Pitt...
So, the fact that that was spoiled for so many people, I think, is a shame. Because, again, it was one of those... It was such a big movie, and I couldn't wait to see it. Trailers were everywhere. People were talking about it all the time. I managed to avoid everything. So, I got to appreciate all the surprises for what they were. Doc Ock, Green Goblin, everything. You know, the extra Peter Parkers, you know, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. I got to enjoy all of it from fresh eyes. I didn't know any of it was coming, and it made it all the more special for me. And I got to appreciate it more. I probably had the biggest smile on my face of anyone when I saw it in the cinema, you know, because a lot of other people would have already known it was coming. But for me, it was brand new, you know, new information, and I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. So. It's a shame that people leak this information. If you can get hold of this kind of information, just keep it to yourself. Why spoil it for everyone else? It's just not necessary. You know, and as much as obviously Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield denied any involvement in the movie, it just, like I said, very few people probably believed it. But I'm so glad I avoided all of that. I really am. Yeah, and I loved that movie. It was great. It was probably one of my favorite Marvel movies. So it was phenomenal. Let's go into Brangelina.
Angelina Jolie starred in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, an action comedy about married assassins ordered to kill each other.
Don't! Come on!
At the same time, Pitt was in a very public relationship with Jennifer Aniston, whom he married in 2000.
One thing Brad would always say to me is, you know what, we're just going to do the best we can.
But they separated in January 2005, and a few months later, Pitt accompanied Jolie to Kenya. This led to speculation that they were now a couple, which was confirmed when Jolie announced she was pregnant with Pitt's child, who was born in May 2006. It also led to allegations that Pitt had had an affair with Jolie while still married to Aniston. Jolie denied this while admitting that she did fall in love with Pitt while filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Doing all right, aren't we?
Buried in the Desert. This is technically about a video game adaptation of a...
Again, it's an affair, or potential affair. It's just one of them things. It's not really anyone's business, you know. I get where they're saying it could be a conspiracy theory. The conspiracy theory is, was there an affair? If it's been denied, that doesn't mean it's not, that doesn't confirm that it's true. Far from it. But it also doesn't mean that it's not true, It's one of those things, will anyone ever know for sure? Probably not. Yeah, there's not much to say on that one. Any of these that are sort of based around affairs and having children and stuff, I don't have much to comment on, unfortunately. So let's just rewind this a little bit, because we let this get a little bit far before we paused it. Let's have a look.
That she did fall in love with Pitt while filming Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Doing all right, aren't we?
Buried in the Desert. This is technically about a video game adaptation of a movie, but it's still movie related, so we're counting it. In December of 1982, Atari released E.T. the Extraterrestrial, based on Spielberg's iconic movie. The game was notoriously terrible and sold poorly, resulting in the video game crash of 1983. An urban legend circulated that unsold cartridges of the game were buried in a New Mexico landfill.
We are going to start digging in a minute.
The claim originated in a 1983 article in the Alamo Gordo Daily News, which claimed that Atari had buried a large assortment of items. The story was finally confirmed in 2014, when buried cartridges were excavated from the landfill. One of them is now on display at the Smithsonian.
The legend was so awesome, it's kind of a shame to finally figure it out, right? I think it was almost better to be the legend of what it was.
A government mind control program.
Okay, that sounds interesting, but let's just go on to the Atari for a moment. Why? Why did they bury all that in the desert? I don't understand the point to that. Yeah, that one's actually confusing me, because I just don't see why they would go to the trouble of burying it in the desert. And they said it was a large amount as well, so I'm not too sure about that one. I mean, I never heard that legend myself. That's new information to me, but I think that's really weird that they would do that. But people went and found it, so it turned out to be true. Was it directly connected with the movie? I don't know. It was about Atari video game cartridges. It wasn't really about the movie, so should that be on the list? I don't know. Government mind control program, though. This sounds interesting. Let's see what this has to offer.
62's The Manchurian Candidate sees Lawrence Harvey playing Raymond Shaw, a U.S. Army sergeant who's brainwashed into becoming a communist assassin.
I wanted a killer from a world filled with killers, and they chose you.
Government programs to control people's minds for nefarious purposes? It's a fun story, but can't possibly be real, right? But the tall tale is closer to reality than some would like to admit.
Raymond Shaw is the kindest, bravest, warmest, most wonderful human being I've ever known in my life.
The novel on which the movie is based was published in 1959. 6 years earlier, the CIA began Project MK-Ultra, which involved deeply unethical experiments on unsuspecting targets, including military veterans. The project's aim was to establish interrogation and torture techniques using strategies that ranged from psychoactive drugs to electroconvulsive therapy. It remained a secret until 1975, when investigative committees uncovered the truth.
His brain has not only been washed, as they say, it has been dry cleaned.
The Schneider Cut. 2017's Justice League.
That's insane. To think the government are doing them experiments on people. And in the 70s, it came out. I don't know what they can do now. We're far more technologically advanced now than we were back then. So just imagine what's going on now that we don't know anything about. That's insane. That's crazy.
It had a notoriously difficult production.
Yeah. Oh, something is definitely bleeding.
Director Zack Snyder had to step away from the director's chair due to the tragic death of his daughter, after which Joss Whedon reshot much of the movie. The budget ballooned to $300 million. Cinematographer Fabian Wagner estimated that only 10% of the material shot with Schneider made it into the film.
Glad I didn't miss this.
So am I.
Yeah. Now she's glad.
Unimpressed fans called for the release of a Schneider Cut. As it turned out, Schneider did have a cut, which he kept on a hard drive and never expected to release. Well, as fans' demand grew, he was given the budget to expand it into a 4-hour epic, released on HBO Max. For the most part, the version was deemed superior to Whedon's theatrical cut.
That's why I brought you together.
The Philadelphia Experiment. The 1984 sci-fi film...
Okay, so I'm not well placed to comment on that because I've never seen it. A lot of you are probably going to come at me in the comments for that, but I've never seen it. I haven't. I've never been a big DC fan. I'm more of a Marvel guy. But we have Film Fridays coming up on our channel soon, so if it's something you'd like me to see, you know, definitely request it, because I'll be taking many requests for many different movies, and there'll be one every single Friday. So, you know, if it is something you're interested in me watching, please let me know and I'll take a look at it. But right now, I just don't feel like I'm well placed to really comment on that, because, like I say, I haven't seen either version. So it's not really my place on that one, unfortunately.
The Philadelphia experiment is based on an urban legend. Supposedly, in October 1943, merchant marine Carl M. Allen saw the USS Eldridge turn invisible and disappear from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard.
The Eldridge is beginning to fade, sir. She's gone.
It allegedly teleported to Virginia and back with harrowing effects on the crew. Most of this story has been debunked, but researcher Jacques Vallée claims that it may hide some truth.
All of this time, he was telling the truth. All of this time, and nobody would believe him, not even me.
He argues that the Eldridge was confused with the Angstrom, which was docked nearby. The Angstrom reportedly underwent a procedure to decrease its magnetic field, making it invisible to torpedoes. It may also have traveled to Virginia and back in a single day with the Chesapeake and Delaware Canal. Imaginative retellings then warped the facts into the improbable Philadelphia experiment.
The experiment took place on a ship in the Philadelphia harbor. It was 1943, October. Does this sound crazy? You know, or is this sort of thing possible now?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Abuse in Hollywood. There have been rumors and accusations of sexual abuse in Hollywood for decades. Often they involved powerful men with the power to break or make careers.
The Me Too movement, it is growing this morning.
While some, such as Roman Polanski, were exposed, the misconduct of others basically remained an open secret. In the 2010s, dozens of victims came forward with accusations against several prominent public figures, in particular Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein. The accusations against Weinstein launched the hashtag MeToo movement, which revealed horrible abuses inside Hollywood and beyond. It confirmed the worst suspicions that many people had about how the entertainment industry often functioned.
And once 5 women, 10 women, 20 women tell their stories about what's happened to them, it makes other women feel more courage to be able to say, this happened to me too.
So that last one, there's not really much extra for me to add on to that. So, you know, that is what it is. It's been a big thing. I'm not really feeling like I'm placed, you know, in the right place to comment on it. So we're gonna end that there. I just think that I was expecting more to be actually related to actual movies. Some of this wasn't. So it wasn't quite what I was expecting, but it made it more interesting. Because, you know, it sort of went into a few different areas, and you know, we learned some new information that I didn't previously know before. Maybe you didn't know before. So that's gonna do it, I think, for today's reactions. So if you're new to the channel, you know what to do. If you have anything you'd like me to react to on the channel, just let me know and I will react to it, and I'll see you next time.